Hi, friends. Welcome back to the High Vibration Living Podcast. I'm your host, Chef Whitney Aronoff, founder of Starseed Kitchen and High Vibration Foods. And it has been a minute since I've done a solo episode. So I just attended the 2025 Natural Products Expo West, which is the largest health, wellness, foodie expo in the US. So I thought I'd give you guys a little download of what I saw, what I learned, what I tasted in my experience, because the Natural Products Expo is going to really set the pace for what you're going to see as a consumer in the grocery stores over the next year or two. So I wanted to kind of give you guys an update on where food trends are this year and where it seems things are going since more and more people are finally becoming aware of the ingredients in their food, are being more mindful about what they're putting in their body. And a lot of this has to do with what the buyers are choosing for grocery stores. And then you, as the consumer, are getting to choose from what the buyers have been exposed to and what they've chosen for their store. So that's why I wanted to do this solo episode. So without further ado, I'm going to jump in. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to kind of flash the little brochure so you guys can see the label and the marketing, because it might be more familiar to you if you've seen it on social media, but it's called Natural Products Expo West. And it takes place actually twice a year, once a year in Anaheim, California, and once a year back east in Baltimore. But the one here in California in Anaheim is the largest. So this is the Natural Products Food Expo. This is the largest food expo that's actually supposed to be focused on healthy food. There are other food shows. What's most famous is probably the Fancy Food Show, which is up in San Francisco. There's also a big food show that's back in Chicago. This one is focused on supposedly healthy food. So that would be all the products that you find at a Whole Foods, an Erewhon, a Sprouts, any more natural grocer, any more natural health focused grocery store. This is also where, small business owners come for their shops, their bodegas. If you live in Orange County and you shop at Fermentation Farm, they go to Expo West to source a lot of the items that are on their shelf. So a lot of people are influenced, and a lot of people's lives are shaped by what happens at these shows, even you. So long before I was aware of Expo West, I was shopping at Erewhon and Whole Foods and Mother's Market and a variety of health food stores that don't even exist anymore. And their buyers were going to these shows and placing all their orders for the year. And that's what was showing up on the shelves for me as a consumer to purchase. So these shows are really important to all of us. And I wanted to talk about the trends that I saw this year, and also reflect on the trends that I've seen over the past few years, because a lot is changing in a really great way. So when I first started going to Natural Products Expo West in about 2016, it still was a health food show. It was my dream come true. At the time, I started shopping at Erewhon back in 2004, when it was still like a super hippie little single market. I have always loved finding the little mom and pop health food shops and picking up, all my ingredients, single origin, scooping them into my little brown paper bag, rolling them up and putting them in my glass jars at home, and just seeing what other natural products were on the shelf that I maybe wasn't aware of yet. I've always loved that. So when I first started going to Expo West, it was like that times 1,000. It was really all the real health and wellness brands. What I've noticed it evolved to as healthy food and wellness has become more popular and another great marketing arm of a business, it became more processed. And so we went through the phase of everything being gluten-free. We went through the phase of all the soy-based meats. We went through the phase of sugar-free, but just substituting it with all these chemical sugars that are causing people upset stomachs and gas. So we keep moving through all these more processed foods to fill a gap for people that want to eat healthy but are really just continuing down the wrong path. And we're moving back into more health food, which is really great. What I saw this year was less soy and fake meats, just overall less processed food. It still exists, it's still out there, but things are changing. But you, as the consumer, still are going to have to read your labels. Nothing is changing there. It doesn't matter how well you know a brand. Brands get bought, brands get sold, brands get budgets. So you're always going to have to read your ingredients. You're always going to have to continue to see how the business of the food product that you're ordering is evolving. But there's a lot more better products coming out. And there's a lot of products that are still family owned or being started by an individual or a chef whose number one goal is to keep the ingredients high quality. So I think a lot of things are changing in a good way. So what I'm going to do to you today is I'm just going to read through my list. If you follow me on Instagram, I posted a bunch of the things that I found at Expo West, but I'm going to go through it again for you guys, just so you can be aware of what's coming on the shelves for you in the rest of the year and into 2026. These are the products that are going to be coming out. They show us at Expo West, but not everything's coming to market right away. So for instance, if you love the cassava flour tortillas by Coyote, they are coming out with the extra large burrito size tortillas, the ones that would help you make, a chipotle size burrito at home. But they aren't going to be available to consumers for about 6 months. But they showed them at Expo West. They explained to me that if I want them for my meal prep business, I can order them as a wholesaler and start using them within the next month, but they aren't going to be on the market for the consumer at Whole Foods or at Sprouts for another 6 months. So I'm going to share these things with you guys here, and then you're just going to have to be on the lookout. I definitely saw a lot of iced coffee at Expo West, not necessarily delicious iced coffee, but a lot of iced coffee, just more brands coming to market. Lots of mushrooms coffees with the coffee in it. That's what I thought was interesting. I know a lot of people are looking for alternatives to coffee, but a lot of the mushroom drinks still had coffee in it. And what was worse, they had instant coffee in it, which is a really processed food. So continue to read your ingredients there. I didn't consume any mushroom coffee or coffee alternatives at the expo that I liked. I really would have liked to have seen more coffee alternatives, but there wasn't that much. It was mainly mushroom coffee with coffee in it. And you're going to hear me repeat that a lot. There was a lot of things with coffee and caffeine in it. I also saw lots of mushroom gummies and mushroom powdered drinks. Again, the mushroom powdered drinks weren't marketed as coffee alternatives, just as supplements to help with brain function, with mood, with energy levels, but they weren't marketed as coffee alternatives. I mean, an endless mushroom gummies. And then within the mushroom gummies, targeted towards different functions. Lots of liquid supplements. That seems to be really trending with the liquid packets. You probably guys know Symbiotica the most, but there's going to be a lot of other brands coming to market this year. Lots of drinks and protein bars with added caffeine. I felt like caffeine and mushrooms were probably the top two ingredients I saw at the show. So a variety of sodas, sparkling waters, different fruit and citrus flavored sparkling waters with added caffeine. That was what I was seeing a lot of, just more canned drinks, canned beverages, fruit sparkling waters. There's 50 million options. That sector keeps growing, which must mean people are consuming it. I just drink water, and then I sometimes add a little rose essential oil to it, or a fresh lemon, or a fresh lime, or a little sea salt. I don't play around. I don't need to buy water in an aluminum can in the refrigerator section. And I would try to avoid that because it's a processed food. But if that's your jam, More coming to market. I saw lots of frozen fish food. That was pretty interesting. Last year, we saw a lot of fake fish products and a lot of soy based products that were made to resemble fish, which I thought was weird. This year, it was a lot of fish sticks, frozen fish, breaded fish, tuna burgers. That was really out there. Um, so that just means something's going on in the fish industry that's trying to push a lot of frozen options. Again, more ice creams coming to market, but none of them being healthy ice creams. None of them having better quality milk, whether that's organic or A2 or raw, and none of them being made with better quality sugars or sweeteners. It's just ice cream with pretty packaging. Um, so that was interesting, continuing to be disappointing in that arena. I mean, lots of chips and puff snacks. Um, I don't eat chips and I don't eat puff snacks because most of them are processed foods. So that doesn't appeal to me and I didn't dive in, but there were a lot out there coming to market. Another thing that was really popular is pork rinds. Those continued. I see them every year and more brands doing pork rinds at Expo West. So if you're a pork rind fan, there's going to be even more coming to market. One thing I did like that is always a reminder at Expo West is if there is something that you really love that you know is not healthy for you. And I'll give the example of animal crackers, or we know them as animal crackers, but they're really those cookies for kids that are shaped like animals from the circus, in that cute little rectangular box, which we all have nostalgia for, right? Like the smell, the cute little box, all of it. There was a brand there, and I do see them every year, and they're doing those little cookies, but with much cleaner ingredients. And that's the joy of Expo West is you can find your favorite foods and your favorite beverages and your favorite snacks upgraded. And that's what it's all about is I think it's the reminder that there is good, better, best in the food marketplace, as there should be. So if you find that you really love a gummy, or you really love like a Swedish candy, or you really love a particular cookie or a certain type of dessert, you can find better quality ingredients out there that you're still going to get that hit, that flavor, that treat, that joy that you love. But the ingredients are going to nourish your body a little bit better, which is going to affect your mindset and your headspace and your energy level. You won't crash. Everything that you put in you and on you plays a role in your physical, emotional, spiritual, and mental health. Everything is either going to add to your field or take away from your field and put holes in it. So we still want to enjoy life and be able to indulge in the things that we love and make us happy and bring us joy and remind us of happy memories. But there's better options for it now. So keep that in mind as you kind of clean out your pantry and clean out your fridge and look to upgrade items that you choose to eat or snacks you choose to buy your kids. Look at the ingredients again. And if you don't like what you see, know that there is better out there and you just need to start looking. Get out of your comfort zone, drive to a different grocery store, go online and look and see what's out there. Now, remember, there are different buyers for different stores. So if you live in one neighborhood and you love going to that Whole Foods, if you go to a Whole Foods 20 minutes away, they're going to have different ingredients. And we all know this if you shop at like Costco. Costco is a great example of if you go to Costco in one neighborhood versus a different neighborhood, you'll find completely different things. I just did that. I shopped at a Costco in Irvine instead of the Costco in Aliso Viejo, and it was night and day. And there was literally things I had never seen at my usual Costco and things that I couldn't find that's usually at my usual Costco. So get out of your comfort zone, try new locations. When I lived in Washington, D.C., I loved driving out of D.C. to go to Whole Foods in Virginia and in Maryland because they had completely different items than what was available to us in the District of Columbia. So if you're looking at the food in your house and you want to try new things or you want to upgrade little ingredients, get out of your little circle, shop at new locations, and you might find exactly what you are looking for. So, with that in mind, I also saw lots of liquid supplements. So, I'm sure you guys have been seeing over this past year or two a lot of people talking about hydration and that when you drink water, you need to add a little salt or a little lemon or lime or something in it for better hydration. So, there were a lot of hydration liquid supplement, mineralization powders out there. So a mix of powders to mix with your water for hydration and minerals, as well as tons of liquid vitamins. That continues to be the rage. I think Mary Ruth Organics was one of the first to start with the liquid supplements, and a lot more people are getting on board. Obviously, Symbiotica has been really successful. I think one of the companies that I talked to is called Liquid Sunshine. And I'm going to have the founder on my podcast in a few months. But you're going to see a lot more liquid supplements coming to market and even more hydration powders coming to market. Again, read the ingredients. And with the hydration powders, you don't need them. You just need a pinch of real sea salt. And then if you want to, you can add a squeeze of lemon, lime. You can add some fresh mint in your water, some rosemary. You can, buy the rose that I like to buy at Erewhon and just put a squeeze in my water. You can just drink water plain. You don't have to stress about it. It's just water. So I kind of consider those electrolyte supplements and powders as a treat, but that's definitely popular. I also saw a lot of creatine and amino acids. So the amino acids were really big at the show, and every brand that is a supplement brand was pushing the creatine, and not just the traditional creatine powders that we've heard about for over 20 years that were really always focused towards men for weightlifting. They're being targeted towards women now, and they're being put in gummies. So there were creatine gummies as well. I mean, if you want a gummy, there's a gummy for it. So it doesn't matter if you want mushrooms, you want your daily vitamin, you want creatine, you want your ashwagandha. You can get it in a gummy if you so choose. But always look at the ingredients. Women's health was really popular at the show, specifically menopause and perimenopause. So a lot of supplements for that. So a lot of supplement brands that just focus on that, and a lot of supplement brands that you've seen at Sprouts and Whole Foods, and kind of every grocery store that's now coming out with a line specifically focused towards women who are premenopause, perimenopause, menopause, and surprisingly, there were post-menopause supplements. Also, more supplements than I've ever seen before geared towards men, especially men's libido, which, I kind of touched on with some of the earlier podcast episodes this year. I think we're going to see a lot about that coming up over this next year. If you are on Twitter, I feel like there's already a lot of advertising on Twitter about low libido for men. I don't see it as much on Instagram, but I definitely see it pushed on Twitter, or that's just the weird algorithm that I'm in. But I saw that a lot at Expo West. It'll be interesting to see how we hear that play out over the next year. More items just marketed to men in general in the health and wellness space. Still not as much as you would think, but definitely things marketed towards men's health. And a lot of bamboo paper towels and toilet paper, believe it or not. That was interesting. A lot of alternative feminine products using better ingredients, including hemp. more castor oil products. So I saw quite a few booths beyond just Queen of the Thrones, which is the brand that I buy for my castor oil wraps. A lot of castor oil products, also rollers, and a lot of people that had, the little lash wand, so you can put it on your eyebrows and your eyelashes. Um, so that was interesting. More clean beauty products, which is great. But I'm finding with the clean beauty products, we're still not seeing a large movement in the tallow or goat milk or sheep's milk or animal fat space. We're still seeing a lot of the skincare products and the soaps be vegan, not as much as it used to be at Expo West. The vegan push has died down, which I think is great, right? Because it really balances everything. And everyone gets to figure out what works best for their body. And being vegan doesn't work well for most people's body, but some it does. So we're seeing that push a little less, which is great. I'm also seeing less shaming, shaming of food, shaming of lifestyle. Um, that's a relief, isn't it? Like, don't we all get to choose what we want to put on us and in us, and know that we're choosing the best at the moment, and we really don't need anyone else's opinion unless we've asked for it? So that was great. Um, let's see what else. A lot of hummus, which really surprises me. And I'm not in that place anymore. I'm a 43-year-old woman who is a trained chef, and I make a lot of my food at home. But I do remember when I was in my 20s and I was going into the office every day when I had a corporate job, I would buy hummus at Trader Joe's, and I'd slice up my carrots and I would take it to work, and it would often be my afternoon snack, or I would somehow add it in with my lunch. And I really stopped eating it because hummus gives me a stomach ache. Garbanzo beans just don't agree with me. And, I really started looking at all the food that I was eating with citric acid in it. And citric acid is just a preservative, and I just don't need to fill my body with more citric acid. We don't know what the long-term health effects are going to be of excessive citric acid usage. So I'm not someone that buys pre-made dips, but I thought it was interesting how many pre-made dips were at Expo West. I mean, that was a really big marketplace. So if you're someone that likes hummus, you like bitchin' sauce, you like anything that you can dip your crackers and your veggies in, there are more coming to market for you, but please read the ingredients. Just make sure that there's no citric acid, and there's no canola oil, there's no soy oil, and there's no added soy or other ingredients that are keeping it shelf stable longer. You don't deserve that. It kind of defeats the purpose of slicing up all your veggies to dip. Um, but that was there's a big space in that market, and people are apparently buying dips. So more companies are making them in hopes that you purchase them. So I just thought that was interesting. And then I kind of noticed subtle little things because I have a brand, Starseed Kitchen, and the goal of the brand is activation and spirituality. So for me, I created Starseed Kitchen, or I share Starseed Kitchen, my organic spices, with you guys because I can't be in everyone's kitchen. And I know how the energy of a chef or the person who cooks your food activates the food and helps you heal and can put love and light and energy and abundance and elevate your consciousness through food, through the energy that they're moving into the food. And because I can't do that for every single soul on the planet, I can activate the spice, or I can activate food and then sell that to you, and then you can consume it. And I can control with sound vibration, with intention, with crystals, with mantras, creating a more elevated, blessed food and that being passed to you. So I'm very mindful of a variety of things that we do for our organic spice blends, as well as the labeling, because the words on food packaging penetrates the food and can either uplift the food or bring the food down. This is really important. So We all know, I mean, at this point, unless you've been living under a rock, you've heard all the studies where you can put numbers or words on water and then test the water, and you can see and learn the vibration of the water. Endless studies that if you could put positive words on the water, such as love or happiness or joy, and then they test the water, they get beautiful, intricate snowflakes, and they actually find that the vibration of the water is higher than just basic tap water or water that has had negative words written on it. So the same thing happens with your food or your beverages, your sodas, your iced coffee, anything you're going to consume, there's water in those foods, in those beverages, and you can code water. And one way you can code water is by the words that are on the container that the water is sitting in. So when you buy your iced coffee at a gas station, or at a grocery store, you buy your soda that has a hint of lemon in it, or your sparkling blackberry water. Look at the packaging and what's written on there, because those words are getting coded into your beverage. And what I'm continuing to notice are those brands where there's death and skulls on the beverage, and that's going to affect you. So you don't want to drink anything that says death on it, because now the beverage inside is coded to death. And what's the point of drinking that, right? Aren't we looking for life force energy? Like, aren't we looking for food and beverages that are going to make us feel good and uplift us? Like, how can I have a more elevated life with ease and grace? Well, then I want to drink water that has positive messages on it that's going to make me feel elevated and is going to bless my life. Instead, some people are choosing water or iced coffee that says death and has skull and bones on it. So there was a brand there called Death Wish Coffee. There's a brand that I'm sure you guys have all seen that says Liquid Death Water. You want to avoid these things because they're being negatively coded. There's nothing in there that you want. And you definitely don't want to drink water that's been sitting in an aluminum can, because now you're just drinking aluminum. And we all know that there's aluminum poisoning, and certain heavy metals are going to affect your skin and your energy level and your health and tax your liver and your whole endocrine system. So I just wanted to remind you guys that although the packaging might look cool, it's not cool. You know, that's the disruption that I'd like to see in the food space, is the mindfulness of the packaging, not just from an eco standpoint, but for your health, and the understanding that we are coding how people are going to feel through their food and beverages by the packaging. So you might think I'm a little out there for saying this, but this will be the norm in 10 years. More and more people are going to wake up to this, and you can do it at home. So any glass jar that you pour your water, any cup you pour your coffee into, you can write with a Sharpie a positive word or numbers that you like. You can use the Balancing by Numbers book and write a code on it. You can use sacred geometry and make a coaster out of the sacred geometry and then set your cup on there. There's so many ways to code and bless your beverages, simply by setting an intention and holding that intention in your head or in your heart, or just seeing it in your mind's eye and putting your cups around the glass will do it. And if you guys want me to teach you a class on how to do it, I absolutely will. I've learned from so many spiritual practitioners on how to do this. Anyone can. We are all capable of blessing our food and beverages, as we are capable of blessing it for the people that we cook with and other people as well. So that's one thing I'd really like to see fully evolve. It never will. And there'll always be people that will choose those products. And when they choose those products, they choose their destiny. I personally choose to pass. So that's the gist of what I saw. that's what I think you guys are going to be seeing more of in the grocery stores over the next year, in the health food stores down the vitamin aisle. You'll probably see these items also pushed by influencers. You'll see these items pushed on all channels of social media. Um, One thing just overall is this year's Expo West was just a lot more chill. It's a lot more quiet. It's a lot more peaceful. It wasn't as busy. The booths weren't over the top. A lot of them are really pared down. And so I think that's also just an expression of um, the financial industry and the rises in food costs and how people are spending their marketing budgets. I think they're definitely cutting back, which I think is great. I don't need to go to a food products fancy booth for 2.5 days. It's not necessarily how I want a brand to be spending money because I'm really, as the consumer, paying for that booth with what they're charging me to purchase their products. So that was kind of nice to see all that kind of pared down and pushed back. And overall, it's moving back towards a health expo, which I think is really great. I think we're going to see a huge movement in food over the next year. And I think Expo West next year is going to be even more different. But I'd love to hear what you guys want to see coming to market. What do you wish that you could buy at the grocery store? What's missing? What's missing for you? Like, where's the hole in the market? What are you hungry for? What are you thirsty for? Let me know. Feel free to DM me that you listened to this episode. DM me on Instagram, on TikTok, on Twitter. You can also leave a comment that you listened to this episode of the High Vibration Living podcast on Apple Podcasts. You can say, hey, I listened to this episode. This is what I learned. This is what I wish was coming to market. But I'd love to hear from you guys and find out if this information was helpful, if you enjoyed this episode. And I look forward to sharing more with you about food and wellness this year. I'm going to be bringing on more chefs, more experts in different industries of the food space. I'm ready to do more exploration in that space over the next year and find some foodies to bring in to help teach you guys better foods to nourish your body. So that's it for now. Thank you for tuning in. Much love, and we'll connect soon. Cheers. This week on the High Vibration Living podcast, I'm giving you guys the download from the 2025 Natural Products Expo West. Expo West is the largest natural food products expo in the US, and it happens once a year. It happens every spring in Anaheim, California. And what this is, it's a food show that focuses on everything health and wellness. And these are all the products that are going to be in your Whole Foods, your Erewhon, your Mother's Market, your natural grocers, your Sprouts. So wherever you live in the US, the health-focused grocery stores in your neighborhood, they're sending their buyers to this food show to decide and place orders of what's going to be on your shelves. Not just the food, not just the dry goods, but even a lot of the beauty products and supplements. So this is a really important show. A lot of companies, this is where they release their new products for the year. And some of the products that they are going to be releasing and showing at the show still isn't going to hit the shelves for another 6 months. So I love to go to the show, see what the trends are, see what's going to be coming out, and then share the insight with you. So enjoy the episode. You can find it on Spotify, you can find it on Apple Podcasts, or anywhere you listen to podcasts, and it'll give you some good scoop on what to expect in the food and wellness space for this year ahead. Cheers. So here is a perfect reminder why you should always read the ingredients on any food or beverages you buy. Or when you get the opportunity, talk to the brand and find out more about it. So when I was at Expo West, I'm walking down the aisles and someone hands me a sample of a sparkling spring water. So I asked them, I was like, so is this water from a natural spring source? And then do you guys go and add carbonation to it? And they tell me, oh, yes, this is from a natural spring. Then we filter it and then we add carbonation, put it in our glass jars, and this is the sparkling water. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I want to learn more about the spring. So she told me to go and talk to somebody else on the team that could fill me in, because if you know me, I love everything to do with springs. I'm the person that goes on road trips and I find the natural spring wherever I'm visiting so I can fill up my water bottle. I love hot springs. I love learning about healing waters. So I think, ooh, this is interesting. Finding like some natural spring water, fill me in. Is this healing water? Like, give me all the scoop. They admit to me that it is municipal water from Mexico. It's tap water from Mexico. And then it's filtered and it's carbonated and it's put in a glass jar. And so you have to laugh that someone is selling you just tap water from another country and then carbonating it and putting it in a glass jar with a fun label, and boom, they got a business. So, oh, what a reminder to, not take it all too seriously. Ask questions, know the source, read the ingredients, but sometimes that's not even going to tell you what something is. You kind of always have to look behind the label. And even at a huge natural products expo, you can be sold something that something is not. But I thought that was just kind of a great story and a great experience and something I'll never forget. You go to Mexico, you don't drink the tap water, but you can go to a grocery store in the US and you can buy the tap water from Mexico. So, there's something for everyone out there. So this is a little controversial, but hear me out and just ponder it. So we've all heard and read about the studies where you can take water, you can put it in a glass jar or a cup, and you can write a positive word on it. And they've done tests to show that the frequency of that water is higher than basic tap water or water that had a negative word put on the container. So keep this in mind when you go to the grocery store or you're at a gas station or you're just grabbing something really fast from a convenience store or a bodega. And it doesn't matter if it's a coffee, a water, a sparkling beverage. Look at the packaging and look at the words and the numbers and the symbology on the packaging, and ask yourself, what type of charge is that having on the beverage in there? So everything that has water in it, so all your food, all your beverages, the words and the packaging on the water is affecting the frequency of the beverage and the food that then's going into you and affecting your frequency. So if you're choosing products that say liquid death or death coffee, then it's a death vibration that's going into you. Now, we can't always buy food and beverages that say love and high vibration and blessings and abundance and peace and joy, but we can definitely avoid things that have the negative verbiage on it. So just play with that thought. And the next time you go to pick up something that has more of negative branding, death branding, or low vibration words on it, hold it in your hand for a second and see how it makes you feel. You can even put it against your chest and do a balance test and see if it's really the right product for you, because you might be evolving in a way that it's not going to serve you anymore. And I think we're going to see this big change in the way food and beverages are branded, because I think more people are going to come online and understand how it's not just the quality of the food and beverage that we're consuming, but it's how it's packaged as well.